Hi everybody, it's You Had to Ask, the show where I answer your questions, and this week my first question comes from Der Wunderbar, who says, I've heard that the new Batman costume in the upcoming Batman vs. Superman will have the short ears on the cowl, plus will feature the gray color palette on the suit itself. These are just rumors. Any thoughts? My thoughts are that the costume design will have nothing to do with the quality of the movie. It's entirely possible that the movie will be great or shitty, and it will have nothing to do with how Batman's costume looks. Although I will say, I think it's kind of, if that is the direction that they are going with the costume design, I think it's cool because I've never understood why in the movies Batman's costume can't look more like it looks in the comics. They spend way too much time and way too much effort trying to make Batman's costume look like cool and sort of plausible, and that, to me, that's just the wrong way to go. Batman's costume is an inescapably silly part of the character. Even if you try to make it look like body armor and you try to write in all these explanations of like, oh, it was developed for the military and blah, 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 like they did in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, you always have a dude dressed as a bat. That's just part of the character. You just can't get away from it. Same thing with Superman. You can try and explain, oh, it's the Kryptonian uniform, blah, blah, blah. It's a dude in tights and a cape. You just can't avoid it. That's just, it is what it is. And I think the more time they waste trying to make it cool, the worse off things are. I think you need to just embrace it for what it is and just go for it. And if you want people to not notice how stupid and silly it is, tell them an awesome story. Right? That's the best way to do it. Making it all textured, trying to make it look cool, and you know, just a waste of time. The best way to make Batman's costume look good on film, I think, is it has all to do with the lighting. It doesn't matter whether the ears are long or short, whether it's gray or black or blue or whatever. If you light it properly to make Batman look mysterious and intimidating and scary, then that's what's most important. And ultimately, you can't get away from the silliness factor, and you should just not worry about it. That's what I think. Masked Malfrey. Dear Steve, I'm a recent subscriber and I really enjoy your content. What are some of your expectations, thoughts on the forthcoming Star Wars sequels by J.J. Abrams? What characters would you like to see make a return to the franchise? Thanks. You know, my excitement, such as it is about the upcoming Star Wars films, doesn't really center so much on the characters. And that sounds odd because character is sort of where it's all at. I mean, if you don't have character, it's difficult to build an appealing movie, especially an adventure movie like Star Wars. You need to have character before you have anything else. I think that's one of the reasons why the prequels fall so flat and are just so dull and lifeless and uninteresting, because they don't have character. They didn't start with compelling, engaging characters that we wanted to follow. But, you know, the things that make me excited about Episode 7, because we haven't really heard much about character yet, and I'm not someone who likes to engage in that kind of speculation, like, you know, ooh, I wonder if it'll be like, you know, Han Solo and Leia's child. I mean, I don't know. I have no idea. I've never gotten into all the expanded universe shit. I don't know about Luke Skywalker's kids or Han Solo's kids. I don't know if they'll be in the movie or not. Frankly, I don't care. What I'm interested in, until we start hearing about more information about casting or about character or about story, is just the fact that, number one, J.J. Abrams is an incredibly talented director. He knows a lot about making this type of film, making a big sort of science fiction adventure film, while also keeping things close to character, making it about people, making it about character, and not so much about effects and action set pieces, although he's very good at filming action set pieces and staging them in a really exciting way. He's shooting on film. He's shooting on 35 millimeter. He said he wants to favor. He wants to use actual sets as much as possible. Imagine that. He wants to favor practical effects over digital effects whenever possible. He wants to try and recreate, or at least honor, try to match in some way the aesthetic of the original trilogy, which I think is just terrific. Very encouraging news. I like the fact that Lawrence Kasdan is writing it with him. I mean, those are the things about Star Wars Episode 7 that I am interested in and that make me hopeful that it will be worth seeing. Because we don't know anything about the story, we don't know anything about the characters at this point, and it's kind of pointless to speculate. It's just fanboy masturbation at this point to speculate and argue about who should be in it and who shouldn't. I don't know and I don't care. The things that I do know about, the things I just mentioned, give me reason at this very early stage to be optimistic, and I am. I'm cautiously optimistic about Episode 7. Atheistic conclusion. Hey Steve, the first time I saw you a little over a year ago, you rubbed me the wrong way. I can't remember what you said or did, but I was turned off and only returned recently because most of the people I sub would like your vids. I came back for a second try, and I'm glad I did. I appreciate all the content, and I'm glad I didn't like you back then because I have hours of entertainment ahead. My question is, where do you get the time? You have one of the most consistent channels, and they aren't short videos. I'm not complaining, but you seem really dedicated. Do you go by a specific work ethic? I'm curious how you're able to put out long, thoughtful videos multiple times a week. Well, first things first, thanks for coming back. Thanks for not completely writing me off because I pissed you off a year ago. I don't know what I did or said, but I'm glad you're here watching my stuff now. Thank you. Well, the first thing is that this is pretty much my job. I do nothing but work on this channel, and I work on it a lot. I work on it almost every day. I do have a pretty routine shooting and writing schedule. Most weeks I shoot Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then I also write Tuesday and Thursday. That's pretty much set in stone. I mean, there is some flexibility because it's all just self-imposed scheduling and deadlines on my part. But that's the routine that I've gotten into, and it's been very productive. 3 shooting days and 2 writing days, and usually the editing for the video that I shoot on Fridays will spill into the weekend a little bit here and there. I'll do some editing on Saturday or Sunday as I have a few free moments. But that's pretty much how I keep up my pace of releasing content, is that I'm just working on it all the time. It's like a full-time job, and I've been very fortunate that I make enough off of ad revenue for my channel that I can afford to do that. Matthew Bugielski. Given that the Fox network destroys everything good, Firefly immediately coming to mind, how long do you think Cosmos will last? Actually, I think Cosmos will last 13 episodes, because that's how long it is. It's a limited series. It'll last 13 episodes, and that'll be it. And I'm glad. That's the way it should be. I mean, I love Cosmos, but one of the things that makes Cosmos special and makes it different from, say, a science documentary series on the History Channel or the Discovery Channel, is that it's focused and it's closed. It's complete. Once it's done, it's done. It's episode 1 through episode 13, and that's it. That's how the original Carl Sagan series was. That's how this new reboot with Neil deGrasse Tyson is going to be. It's one thing, and it's bookended. It doesn't go on forever. It's not the sort of thing that, well, we'll just keep making more of these until we run out of ideas or until people stop watching. No, it's designed to be a specific thing, and that is one of its great strengths, and that's what I think elevates it above a lot of the other science and space science series that have been on public television or cable or whatever. Not that those are necessarily bad. A lot of them are fucking awesome. But Cosmos, the Sagan version, and so far this new version as well, really is in a class by itself. It's really something special. And one of the reasons is because it's designed as a limited series. So yeah, it's going to last 13 episodes. John the Great. As a general rule, I like to keep information about myself private, but I think this is important. I live in a third world conservative country called Peru. Usually the theocratic right wing can get away with oppressing different points of view, but in the last few months, a culture war regarding the legalization of civil unions for the LGBT community has begun. I live surrounded by rabidly homophobic friends and family members who I love dearly, but consider profoundly deluded. Any attempts to participate actively in this process of social progress will generate ostracism and will isolate me. Would you stand up for the rights of minorities knowing that it will cause your loved ones to look down on you? I would, and in my own small, not very impressive way, I have. I mean, I've spoken out very strongly in favor of gay rights in videos in the past, and will do so again in the future, knowing that it would piss off people in my family. I mean, it's never been an issue. There's no tension between me and other members of my family because I'm pro gay rights, but I mean, I do put it out there knowing that that possibility exists. And not just with gay rights. I mean, I disagree a lot with a lot of things, with my family on a lot of things. I'm the only really staunch gun control advocate in my family. I'm the only sort of unapologetic, democratic, liberal, Obama supporting type of person in my family. I'm not shy about that. I don't hide that just because I think that it might irritate them. Again, I'm very fortunate. My family's pretty laid back. My family doesn't hold differing political views against me. There's no tension between us at all. But even if I thought there would be, I wouldn't change how I've expressed myself. And it's not because I'm some courageous, outspoken, advocate for change and social justice or whatever. It's because I don't think I could help myself. I'm very opinionated and stubborn, and I have a big mouth, and if I have something that I think needs to be said, I'll say it, and if it offends people or hurts people's feelings, I don't really care. Or I don't think that far ahead. I just go for it. But there's all, and I'm not saying that that's the way you should be. I think you should take some account of what you want to do, of what you want to say, what the possible consequences would be, and you should make the decision that works best for you. I'm not saying that because I or someone else might be, outspoken and might not care about alienating friends and family, that's necessarily what you have to do. I think you should do what you think you should do. I do think it's always worth standing up for abused people and mistreated people. I think that's very important. I think that's a worthwhile thing to do, whether it's popular or not. But again, that's something you have to decide for yourself. You have to weigh the pros and cons and make that decision. But that's just what I would do. Shao Vertica. Hey Steve, been a fan for a few weeks watching the Atheist Reads videos, and I had a question. Why do Christians think sin is a morality thing? From my understanding, sin has always been a disobedience act. The forbidden fruit, for an example, wasn't expressly a wrong act of morality. I know I'm going on here, but it seems to me that people define sin by descriptive science, as in taking the description, the wages of sin or death, and then trying to figure out what sin is from these phrases found throughout the Bible. I know it's a long answer, but I thought I'd ask you your thoughts. Thanks. Hope your week goes well. Well, thank you. Same to you. I think you have to remember that for a Christian who thinks in terms of sin and morality, that morality can't be separated from God. Doing something that is against the will of God is immoral in a Christian worldview, just by definition. Morality is defined according to God. So it is, and I know a lot of Christians try to be more philosophical and more complex about it and say, oh, it's not about disobedience. We don't think that morality is just a set of rules that you have to follow. But ultimately it comes down to morality is that which aligns with the character and the will of God, and that which is immoral is anything which contradicts that or falls short of that. So for them, for a Christian, sin, yes, it is disobedience, but it's that disobedience that makes it immoral. They don't see morality as the way that someone looking at it from a secular or a naturalistic point of view would see it, where an act is moral or immoral based on itself, based on its effect on other people, based on some innate quality that it has or some judgment that we have made about it. It has nothing to do with that. It's totally where it lines up relative to God. The Unknown Stranger. Steve, what are some critically acclaimed classic movies you dislike and why? There's a list, I think, of movies that are generally critically acclaimed that I just don't have much use for. A lot of them are musicals. I don't like musicals. I don't like the genre of musicals. So, all the old classic Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals. I mean, even, some of them I would even admit to liking some of the songs in them a little bit. But it's just as storytelling, I just think a musical is just a horrible way to tell a story, and I'm just not into musicals at all. So we can throw most musicals into that pile. One big one that I've thought about before, that is it's a beloved American film. It's really a classic. Is Frank Capra's Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, starring. I mean, it has an amazing cast, and Capra himself was certainly a talented filmmaker, but it's got Jimmy Stewart, it's got Claude Rains. It's just this really, on paper it looks like a great movie, and a lot of people do think it's a great movie. It's a classic of American cinema. I just don't like it. I think it's corny. I think it's corny and trite, and I think the attempts at humor in it are kind of weak, and it's just got this really irritating sort of aw shucks quality to it. I just don't care for it. I just don't like it. Similar feelings, and I know this. I just said that I think Frank Capra is a good filmmaker. I'm about to shit on another of his classic films. I assure you, I do think Frank Capra was a talented filmmaker, but I'm not a big fan of It's a Wonderful Life either, to be honest. I just don't. Again, and it's for a lot of the same reasons that I just listed against Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. I find it corny and hokey, and I love sincerity. I think sincerity in a movie is wonderful. I think sincerity is very underused in our cynical, ironic modern cinema, but too much of it is a bad thing. When it crosses the line from sincerity to schmaltz, then it becomes just awful and intolerable. And I think that line is crossed in It's a Wonderful Life, as well as Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. So, and there are lots of other ones I could talk about, but those are two. All due respect to Frank Capra, those are two that spring to mind almost immediately. Dylan Olmstead, from a theater major to an English major, what is your take on the nature of telling greater truths through storytelling, or to put it a bit more bluntly, telling a truth through a lie, fiction? I think that the number one loyalty of a storyteller has to be to his story. And if your goal in telling a story is to tell a greater truth at the expense of some literal facts, then I think that's what you have to do. I'm very if the final product, if the final story, play, film, whatever is good, if it succeeds as drama or comedy or tragedy or whatever it's trying to be, then I think that justifies any artistic choice that is made to get to that point. So if you have to, like, for instance, a lot of people sort of get all bent out of shape when they find out that like a documentary distorts facts, or a documentary presents things in a way that might be a little biased or misleading. And in some extreme cases, like for instance some of the documentaries of Werner Herzog, he flat out will tell interview subjects what to say. And he doesn't so much make things up, but he'll listen, like if he's interviewing someone for his documentary, he'll listen to their version of the story, and then he'll suggest a different way for them to tell it, so that in his finished film he has what he thinks of as a better scene. So even when he's making documentaries, he's not looking at it as a journalist, he's looking at it as an artist. And I think that's an important distinction. If you're an artist, then your loyalty is to the art and to the deeper truth that you're trying to tell in the art, not to the literal truth of the history or the facts being presented or whatever. That's how I feel about it. And yeah, I mean, you can't really say. I mean, it's a way of saying it. It's a really strong rhetorical way of saying it, telling the truth by telling a lie. But really, fiction isn't a lie. Fiction is a fantasy. It's imagination. It's creativity. You're not trying to deceive somebody, but you are presenting events in a dramatic way as though they are really happening. You are presenting people who are actors who are pretending to be other people, and you're trying to create an illusion of reality, and you're doing that not to deceive the audience, but to tell them something, to show them something, to get at a deeper meaning, to present a theme, to reveal a character, to evoke an emotional response. Those are the things that are important. And if you, as an artist, as a writer, as an actor, as a director, whatever, have to leave aside the literal truth in order to get at that deeper artistic truth, I think that's your job as an artist. I don't merely think it's permissible. I think it's what you are supposed to do. Logical Cake, what is your creative process? How do you come up with the ideas for your fiction stories? Well, I haven't really written much proper fiction for a few years. I've almost all of my writing has been focused on this YouTube channel. Generally, my fiction has come from just asking questions and speculating about what the answers would be. How would I react if I was in this situation? Whether the character in the story winds up being like a stand-in for me or not, I find that's a really good way to start. If this happened to me, what would happen? What would that be like? And then you can think, okay, well, what if it wasn't me? What if it was this other person? That sort of thing. And really the only consistent fiction I've written these last few years has been the Stephen Stuffy videos, and those usually come from jokes, from just thinking of something funny. Sometimes it could be as little as just a line that I think of, like an exchange that me and Stuffy or the two of the characters could have in the video, and I think, oh, that would be funny. How can I get to that? How can I build around that? So that's the creative process for those. And for some of the screenplays that I've written with Neon Reel Entertainment, actually, I think most of those have been from other people's ideas. Like the story is sort of given to me. The concept originates with someone else, and then it's my job to sort of take my pass at it and try to make it my own. So that's a different process too, because that comes from like pre-existing material, and it's a process of addition and subtraction and adaptation, and it's the sort of thing that sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it's really obvious what has to be done, but it's the sort of thing that honestly, even to a fellow writer, is probably boring as shit. And I'm kind of glad that there's going to be a thunderclap in a second to sort of get me out of it, so I don't have to talk about it very much longer. There we go. There we go. No more talking about the writing process, because it's time for
the lightning round. Rapid fire questions, glib and adequate answers.
Radical Bacon. If you woke up one day and every time you spoke you had lightning round voice, what would you do? Would I have time to do anything other than beat back the pussy? Come on. If the lightning round voice was my voice, that's like going to be that would be a full-time job. Back. Charles Kunkel Jr. Hey Steve, nothing world-shattering, but I'm a bit curious, being something of a computer geek. What operating system do you use? You a Windows guy? Mac, Linux? Would be interesting to know. I am a Windows guy. I'm running Windows 8. So now you know. Now you can finally relax. You know what operating system I use. DZ OSU 071. The most important lightning round questions ever asked. Okay, we'll take these one at a time. Favorite Pokemon of the original 150. I have no idea. I don't know shit about Pokemon, and I will happily go to my grave knowing shit about Pokemon. Favorite Ninja Turtle. I like Raphael. Favorite gaming console. I'm not much into gaming consoles. I'll say the original NES, because that's the one I have the fondest memories of. Michael Jackson or Prince? Michael Jackson. Thank you for your time. Well, thank you for your time, DZOSU. I'm glad you took the time to write those questions. The Bible Reloaded. Who wins in a fight to the death, Muppet Babies or the Rugrats? I give that one to the Muppet Babies for one reason. Even as a baby, I would never, ever want to bet against Miss Piggy in a fight to the death. I think Miss Piggy all by herself would win that one. And I'm open to counter arguments, but I'm taking Miss Piggy for the win. The other Muppet Babies can just try to clean up. Sepia Siren, ooh, I gotta ask, what does Ashley think of your dislike of Lord of the Rings? Does she enjoy those films? I don't think Ashley gives a shit. Ashley, do you care if I don't like Lord of the Rings?
I don't care.
She doesn't care. I don't think she gives a shit. Louis Ang 114, be honest, did you steal my cookies? No. I didn't, seriously. The accountable account. Lightning round question. Hey Steve, what do you wish to see humanity accomplish before you die? I would love to see humans walk on Mars. If I could pick one thing. And I know maybe I should pick something a little more, far-reaching, solve renewable energy, accomplish sustainable fusion, that sort of thing. I mean, that would be awesome. Don't get me wrong. But the kid in me and the space nerd in me, ooh, people walking on Mars, that's the one I want to see. Ben Shrilla, Steve, who would be your favorite filmmaker? I mean serious writer-directors, like, for example, the Coen brothers. Mine is David Lynch. Of those that are active right now, it's probably Paul Thomas Anderson. Of just anybody ever, it would be either Stanley Kubrick or Buster Keaton, or possibly Akira Kurosawa. One of those three, but probably Kubrick if I had to pick. Hey, that's it for the questions. That's it for the lightning round. I'm about to get out of here and wrap this up, but before I do, I want to give a shout out, as always, and the shout out this week goes to a really deserving channel that, very exciting, just hit 10,000 subs, which is no small milestone. And let's see if we can bump it up even higher, shall we? The channel is Martymer81, and this is such an awesome channel. It's a great atheist, science-based sort of channel. There are a couple of different series that Martymer81 does. There's a regular series that he does called Why Do People Laugh at Spirit Science, where he looks at different aspects of spirit science, sort of new age, pseudoscientific topics and subjects. Really interesting series, really great way of addressing and rebutting a lot of the claims and beliefs surrounding spirit science and pseudoscience and things like that. It's an awesome series. And he's been doing this series called An Atheist Responds to Atheism. And not atheism in general, atheism in as in an article about atheism, this really in-depth article written about atheism from a Christian perspective on the website creation.com. Martymer has been dissecting this article, this take on atheism from a Christian perspective, bit by bit, point by point, in this series of videos, and he's really doing an awesome job, really bringing out a lot of the misleading and incorrect and fallacious information and arguments in this atheism article. It's a really, really excellent series. So for those series that I just described, and just for the channel in general, if you haven't checked out Martymer81, you should check out that channel. It is awesome. Let's try to bump that sub count up for him even higher, because he really, really deserves it. Really great work. Well, that is it for this week. I will be back to do this all over again next week, provided, of course, you guys ask me some questions. So please leave a comment on this video asking me your question for next time. Ask me anything about anything. Nothing is too serious. Nothing is too silly. Whatever you want to know, anything you want to know about me, anything you want my opinion on, whatever. I will answer as many of them as I possibly can next time. So until then, take care, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'll see you.